Okay, so what is Zombie Paint? Zombie Paint is a tribute and a clone to Microsoft Paint, circa 1985 to 2017. And now I'm going to show you a little demo of our app. Okay, so here we have a sidebar with some tools to choose from, some shapes, and 3 sizes for the brushes. So if you choose a paintbrush, you can choose a color from just below the palette and make your wonderful masterpiece. Beautiful. You can clear the canvas, you can fill it in the color of your choice, and then you can also, you can save the image as well after you've finished your masterpiece. Put your shapes on. Yep. Okay, I'm going to pass on to Simon, and he's going to talk about our aims.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so our first aim was to build Paint, and we did it. So, yeah, we were pretty happy about that. Our second aim was to TDD. TDD stands for Test-Driven Development, and this is following the process of writing our tests first, and then the program code second. The point of working this way is for our program design to be informed by the tests, to provide documentation so it's clear to other devs what our code does, and to build code that is easier to maintain as well, and that points to the exact location of any bugs in the program. Our third aim was to write clean code. We aimed to write code that's in the modular JavaScript style, code that is easy to maintain with clear separation of responsibilities, and code which is easily readable by others as well. And our fourth aim was learning, probably our most important aim as well. We wanted to learn about new frameworks, learn about the mechanics of JavaScript, learn more about how to structure front-end apps, and how to test, more about that later. And probably most importantly, how to be good collaborators and good team members as well. So why rebuild Microsoft Paint? Well, in July this year, Microsoft announced Paint would be discontinued in the next Windows update, and this was very shocking news for us. We all have fond memories in our group of using Paint to draw stickmen and bad self-portraits during school IT lessons. So we decided to bring it back from the dead, hence Zombie Paint. So another reason to build Paint was we also wanted to work on a pre-existing product. So less time would be spent deciding on the features, and more time on good code design. And lastly, we wanted to challenge ourselves. So Paint's complex enough to push ourselves, but also achievable in 2 weeks.
So this is how we broke it down. First, we started thinking about the MVP, the minimal viable product. We wrote user stories that led us to develop it, the ability to draw a dot and to draw that dot on a canvas. That became our main target and focus. And once we had that, we kind of developed it into drawing a line and then our other functionalities, which you saw earlier in the demo. This is our first brainstorm of how we wanted to make a Paint app. And it's kind of all the features and functionalities we would want in our end product. So it's kind of our first initial sort of ideas.
Yep, so I'm going to try and briefly discuss the architecture of our app. We try to build the architecture in an agile-like way. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean, we didn't try to make too many design decisions up front. We instead decided to try and let the architecture naturally emerge. We just sort of writing slices of functionality day by day. We did need some structure to get underway, though, so we went with MVC. Benefit of that, we were able to write code on the first day, which always feels super good. Cost, it actually turned out that MVC wasn't particularly well suited to our app. At some point, we had mixed responsibilities in various units, and we also had some pretty large units. Briefly, the solution to that for us, as you can see if you look at the diagram, is to split the controller out into 3 and to make sure that we were defining functions that update our DOM just in the controller, not in the models where they don't belong. Just to finish, if I take you through sort of a flow of data here, if you imagine that you're up in the DOM and you're a user of our app and you say click on the stroke button, we're listening for a click on that element, and that will pass a stroke-related value to the stroke controller, which knows about the stroke model and can update it, so it passes that value on to the model, and that changes the stroke width. Then if you want to say click on the canvas, another element that's been listened on, at that point, you'll go to the canvas controller, and it will be able to query the stroke model at that point, so it knows what the value has been changed to, the stroke width. and then you will get the resulting mark on your canvas via, again, the canvas controller. So yeah, roughly that is our architecture.
So challenges. Right, first of all, we had to learn on our first day some new technologies, namely HTML canvas and its inbuilt functionalities, a new testing framework, which is Mocha and the Chai library, and finally Canteen, which is another testing library. Now, on day 2, we reached our MVP, which was to have a dot on the canvas. The problem was the architecture in that particular moment made our code really, really hard to test. So we took a step back and we started anew by using the TDD approach, and which made our architecture much more testable. Another problem we encountered was basically how to test the output on the canvas. So we came across Canteen, and we basically tested that the methods called through the triggering of an event were saved in an array of instructions. And last but not least, what is these? Now, this is a keyword in JavaScript that takes value depending on when it's called in the code. Problem was we didn't really get this concept at first, so we had to do a lot of research. We had to use the log in the console to understand the value. And finally, we came across the bind function, which made us give these the value that we wanted it to have. And now we'll talk you through, Verity will talk you through the successes.
Hi, so I'm going to talk about our successes. We have many successes over the last 2 weeks. As you can see, we're very proud of our app, and that's our first success. But we're also very proud of the way that we worked during the project. We advocated strong communication through stand-ups, retros, and using workflow management tools. We were also able to apply all of our learning that's taken place at Makers over the last 3 months. As you've heard, we prioritize testing over flashy, untested features, which we're happy about. We also included good practices, so OO, TDD, and MVC, as you've heard about. As Simon said, our main aim was to learn lots during the project, and I think we did that. We really dived into JavaScript and gained a better understanding of its behavior, including asynchronicity, and other aspects like first-class functions and callbacks. So those were our successes over the last 2 weeks. So that's all. Thanks for listening. And if you would like to use zombie paint, you can find it here.